center field. Back toward the track. And that ball is gone.
You are listening to the North Shore 9 podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Also, make sure to watch NS9 Live every Thursday on Twitch and help support by becoming a patron. Let's go Bucks!
Yo, welcome to NS9 Live. I am your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me tonight, we have our co-host, Tyler, a.k.a. Wagner to Kutch. Wagner to Hopeless now. What it do?
Hopeless as can be. It's another day in paradise. Pirates got a win finally.
They did.
On pace for what, 10?
3-10 they are. So
Oof. That's tough.
Is it 10? Are they on pace for 10? I think technically it puts them a little over, right?
Whew.
So
That's tough.
we might be hitting double digits this year, Tyler.
Hooey.
Who would have thought?
I'm just thankful it's a 60-game season.
Think about it, though. Like, it is a 60-game season, which means anything can happen. You know, the small sample size is huge, but every game matters. And the over and under on the Pirates was, I believe, 24.5. And right now we're hoping, you know, like you said, like we're on pace for the 10 or 11 wins. So, yikes.
Yeah, it's... You know what the sad thing is? They could be, what, like probably 5 and... How many games they played? 13, 5 and 8 right now? Baseball's weird.
Yeah.
But everything has gone wrong. And it's their own fault for a lot of it.
No, I mean, you're right, because think about it. They've had, is it 4 one-run losses, I believe? Or is it up to 5 now? Today being a 1-run win.
I mean,
like, it's kind of crazy because every game, oddly enough, with how terrible this team is, of course, not every game, but a lot of the games have been really close.
yeah.
So being 3-10, like you're saying, it could have easily swayed to be 5 and 8.
That's bad that we're saying 5 and 8 would be a success right now.
But at least we're on pace then to, you know, hit our over-under mark.
I mean, too.
Not the worst team ever.
You know,
I mean, there's been positive stuff in the season.
What?
I mean,
I'm trying
think
not
about
to
it,
be.
but it's been there.
I know myself. I know how I get. I'm a negative person by nature.
Right.
But it is so hard for me to find something positive right now.
I'll tell you what. I put a tweet out there yesterday, and I won't name names, you know, but there's definitely someone out there, and she had to reel me in. I told her to reel me in, but I mean, I did it mostly in jest, but you know, it was about obviously when Nick Brody went down, and I was like, you know, all the positive things that I was looking for into the season, slowly drifting away into the darkness because you know this team wasn't going to be good, and it's not as if you're really looking and like I wasn't focused and saying I can't wait to see Dyson play center field. It was
right.
I mean, for a low-cost move, it made sense. It's a defensive move, you know, stuff like that. But the team was going to be good. But there was definitely a lot of spots on this team, like a Nick Birdie, you know, a Mitch Keller, Chad Kuhl, even an Archer with, you know, Oscar Marine and stuff. Like, there were certain people on this team that I was really looking forward to. And one by one, Tyler, they keep going down. And all of my positive thoughts are being ruined. Like, I'm left with nothing but the negative. So I get where you're coming from.
It's hard right now. I mean, to start the season, I'm pretty sure the only things I looked forward to was Cullen Moran batting, which it is what it is. Me saying that's sad because I'm not looking forward to Josh Bell being up right now because I'm watching him swing at garbage.
Ooh. How's he looked off?
It's so easy. It's weird because with him, it's so easy to tell when he's off because just the swings he takes. I've never, really seen it another time. Starling Marte did the same thing.
Yeah.
When he is off, they look the same, where it's just like they're up there just trying so hard to do something right.
Hacking away at everything.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, Marte was more of a free swinger.
Aggressive. Yeah. But when Marte was locked in, you saw that curveball in the dirt get a spit, which you can't do anymore.
Right.
That pitch 3 inches off the plate, he didn't swing at. Josh Bell, it's like right now you see him. These pitches aren't even close. They never were. but he's just so aggressive right now.
And it's odd because of how much he looks like game by game. I mean, it's almost been his pattern. I mean, I think he has obviously long stretches of being hot and long stretches of being cold. But, you know, you'd always joke like game by game, he looks different. And last night, Tyler, I watched the game and all I could take away was Bell's back. You know, he hit a couple monsters. He looks locked in. Like, Bell is back. This is going to get him going again. And then this game came up, and Bell looks lost again.
Yeah,
he, like you said, like he's pretty much he's been a guy who understands the strike zone, and he gets his walks. You know, he struggles at times hitting and getting on base in that sense, but he's always had a high walk rate. He's always been pretty disciplined. I don't see it this year.
It's not like we're not seeing him just swing and miss at a pitch that's middle. We're seeing him take hacks at curveballs that never even see the strike zone. It's like he gets up there and it's just, I got to do something this pitch.
And you know what really stood out to me today? Now, I couldn't watch the whole game today because I was actually working. I like these day games because, you know, we are now working at home. So it's a nice little escape while you work.
We all, okay.
Okay. Some of us. But I mean, it's obviously I watched every other game, you know, pretty much intently. But I did see something today. So there was a ball, no, I should say there was a pitch thrown, and it was a ball, but it was just outside the strike zone. And Bell, you know, he kind of put up his little argument like, are you serious? You know, you call that a ball? I was like, yeah, all right. Well, the next pitch, Tyler, I swear it was 4 inches even further away, and he took a hack. And like, to me, that just kind of identifies this season. Yeah. It's just so mental. Instead of still being disciplined and letting that pitch go, he swung at it because like it's in his head right now.
They didn't call him Tinkerbell for no reason. The dude does one thing and he's got to tinker with everything.
Yeah.
It's like you popped up one time, relax. It happens.
Bucko Mike says Bell is dog feces.
But I mean, you look at a guy like Josh Bell, all the talent in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Then you look at a guy like I watch Brian Reynolds hit. I don't, even when he's in that slump, I don't see much change. The approach stays the same. With Josh Bell, when he's in the slump, you can tell immediately.
Yeah.
Because he is hacking away.
That's a good point. You know, obviously, like for Reynolds, it's just the luck of the draw. I mean, that's why baseball, there's a lot of luck.
Or it's a mechanic.
We talked about Babe.
There might be a mechanical issue or something, but we're not talking about an approach.
Right.
That's a mental issue. And that's a big problem.
You're right. You're right. And just to throw out some numbers here, as we've mentioned, like Josh Bell, the thing about him is the power, like we've talked, comes and goes. He has his streaks, but overall, we look at his numbers. Like he doesn't strike out a ton, and he does walk a ton, as I mentioned. So for his career, he's walked 12% of the time, and he struck out 18.5% of the time. And that's really, really good. And again, that shows his walk rate. This year, Tyler, small sample size, we get it. But so far this year, he's walking 2.1% of the time and striking out 33% of the time.
And I guarantee if you look any even deeper, and I haven't looked, but I don't know if there's a way to look it up, but the amount of pitches he's taking per at bat has to be way down.
Well, I'm sure you can, and no, we have not looked that up.
I'm far too lazy to look it up, and I know I don't feel like boring people with it.
Right.
I guarantee if you look into that, the amount of times he's gone down and 4 pitches or less is probably pretty high compared to usual.
Yeah. I would like to look, and you're right. I mean, he has worked the counts before and such. Again, why he gets on base so often with a walk rate, but he's definitely struggling. So yeah, there's a lot more to be desired for Josh Bell, and I'm sure it's going to come. Listen, I've said this before. I've been a firm believer of it. I think it's quite obvious. I've put out the numbers now league wide this year opposed to last year with the batters, but it just seems like the hitting is behind. The pitching is farther ahead. So you're seeing more people struggle. I mean, you've seen Chris Yelich, you know, when he was playing the Pirates at that point in time, I think he was 1 for 25, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to happen. Unfortunately, it's happening more often. And, you know, when most of the Pirates aren't as good as most teams, they have even further struggles.
They sure
and
are.
It looks even more awful. But yes, a lot of the batters are struggling. They're catching up. And it just kind of is what it is. So hopefully at some point in time, Josh Bell will turn the corner. But I think it's safe to say the season, since it's only 60 games, is still going to look pretty rough.
It's not been pretty. They're honestly hard to watch right now, to be honest with you. It's not like I'm watching a future. It's not like 2010, 2011, where you saw a glimpse of the future. Right now, there is no glimpse of the future. These are guys that are, if the Pirates are good again in the near future, these guys will not be there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And that's part of the difference between like this new regime opposed to the last new regime. And you can look at it either way. I don't know how you're standing, Tyler, and we'll probably get into this. I don't know if one's better or the other. But when Ben Cherington came in, there was more of major league talent than when Huntington came in. Huntington had to rebuild.
I don't know if I agree with that.
No?
I don't.
Like, put it this way.
Because,
okay.
I mean, you look at that. They did not have pitching when Huntington took over.
True.
They had some bats there. Huntington had a lot more to deal. He had Adam LaRoche. He had Xavier Nady. He got something for Nigel Morgan.
Are you talking about Nigel Morgan, Xavier Nady? And
he got something for it. Compared to where we're at now, where we're looking at what were his trade options this year.
But I think the difference,
granted,
like what I'm trying to get into,
do with Dave Littlefield just got a bunch of veteran players that were terrible or like average and ignored pitching forever. But around the diamond, there was a little bit of talent that he could trade for a rental or anything.
Yeah. But okay, so I get where you're coming from. And I think what I'm trying to incorporate here, and I'm not saying you're wrong by any means, and I'm right, is those three guys that you did talk about, though, they weren't in the future plans at all. I mean, they're...
No.
Right. So you could theoretically say... Yes. But what I'm saying is you could theoretically say that a Brian Reynolds, a Kevin Newman, they are on the major league team, but they're also potentially part of the future. Like you're not looking to trade those guys because they're not in this next window, potentially. Whereas when Huntington took over, there was nobody on that club that was good that would have been in the next.
Yeah.
If that
you're
makes
right
sense.
There.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see Kevin Newman being part of the future. I'm completely off board of him. I don't think he's very good. Sorry, anybody. Brian Reynolds, yeah. He can be part of the future. But aside from that, like you got Mitch Keller. And then what?
Well, JT Brubaker.
Not a great day for him. Not a great day.
Okay. It's early. I mean, I'm not a huge Kevin Newman guy. I don't look at Kevin Newman and say he's a stud. I will say I think he can be better than Jordy Mercer. I mean, if that's the bar we're setting at right now, that kind of explains where the Pirates' shortstop position has been for so many years. But
if that's the bar we're setting,
right? I mean, he's just going to get better every single year.
Jordy Mercer, I'm telling. If Kevin Newman came around when Jordy Mercer was around, I'd be like, that's fine. But shortstops have developed so much since then.
God. I can't say it enough. The shortstop position is literally like the small forward position in the NBA. They do everything right now. They're the most athletic person on that team that can still play defense, hit home runs, hit for average, everything. They're not just a glove guy that's there to play good defense and that's it.
And we get Jordy Mercer, Clint Barmas, and Kevin Newman, and Eric Gonzalez.
And how excited were Pirates fans when Jordy came up? I mean, there's reason to, but
we were talking about Clint Barmas every day. Jordy Mercer had like a 115 WRC plus. We were down. Hey, Jordy Mercer was one of the best hitting shortstops for like a year. That's how far that position has come.
I hate to dog him so much too, because again, like for what he was, and at that time he was good, but I guess it just comes to the fact that it's the Ozuna effect. That everyone clamored like Jordy Mercer was the next greatest thing, and all he did would get better. And it's like, no, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
And because of that, I felt this negative thing towards Jordy Mercer. He was fine for what he was. You weren't building the club around him. The Padres are clearly building around Tatis Jr. You weren't building it around Mercer, and that's fine as long as the construction of that roster provided that.
But you look at a guy like Tatis Jr. and you compare him to a guy like Kevin Newman, who Kevin Newman's ceiling is last year. He's not better than that. The guy's never going to hit for power. He's never going to be above average defensive shortstop. If you're lucky, he's going to hit 300 and be a slightly above average hitter. Maybe. Probably not, because everything tells you he won't be.
I don't know if I can truly argue. Now, I think it's evident that he's probably going to be moving off of a shortstop at some point, Tyler. Probably going to be our second baseman, which helps him out. For who?
For Nick Gonzalez?
There you go, Nick Gonzalez.
We're going to move him over?
We're hoping. It's got to be somebody. Maybe it'll be Bay. Maybe it'll be Peguero. I don't know. You were going to
say O'Neill Cruz, and I was going to slap you.
Maybe it will be O'Neill Cruz.
The guy is
I
a
hope
freaking
not.
Power forward.
Yeah, talking about, well, he's a Kevin Garnett right now. 6'10", 180 pounds,
Yep.
fresh out of high school.
He's a large gentleman.
With the Dwight Howard shoulders. So,
oh, God.
I don't know. I think Kevin Newman's probably going to be sliding to second base. It just makes sense. I mean, he was bad. Top of my head, I'm thinking it was 4th percentile in baseball as far as defense goes. That's bad. That's not what you want for your shortstop.
No.
But I don't ever want to say never. I think it's likely his offense last year was his ceiling, as you're mentioning. But I think, I mean, obviously I was rookie year 2. He could, maybe not this year or next year, but in a few years, that could be what he just is. And it's not that was great. He had good average. It's not like that offensively he was great last year, but he was above average. And I think he could potentially do that in the future steadily. But his ceiling is very limited.
Yeah, and don't look at his StatCast page, because it's going to just make you depressed. Because it's going to tell you that everything was luck.
What's funny? If you look at Phil Evans' StatCast page right now too, that's literally that literally is the Kevin Newman profile.
No, not Phil Evans.
Oh, please.
No,
he's just not as fast.
Don't give me
and
that
he has
on my guy.
A little bit more power.
Don't give me that on my guy.
But it's all low exit velocity, all low power, all low this, but good sprint speed.
So it's Adam Frazier for 2 years, and everyone fell in love with him when we made a meme about it.
Yeah. I think I want to throw that meme into the sun right now.
I don't want to take it back to this, but I just happened to come across Josh Bell's StatCast page. He's chasing at 34% of pitches this year. His previous high was 27. So in a small sample size, that's a good amount.
Yeah.
And last year was the year they chased more.
See,
you're chasing.
Go ahead.
Over a third of the pitches you see.
All right.
Not good.
And that's not
good.
That's not good. But also that's terrible for Josh Bell.
Yeah.
That shows exactly what he's doing now, because that's not his profile. Let's catch up on some comments here. It's kind of lit tonight, Tyler.
Yeah.
Look what you bring.
Ooh.
Look what happens when you're not so terrible.
Yeah. You know what? I calmed down tonight.
But yeah, Belko Mike agrees. Newman is second baseman. ZBJ15 says Pirates could build around Nick Gonzalez. I mean, you could. There's still a long way to go.
I mean,
you could.
Yeah, that's like you telling me 3 years ago, let's build around Travis Swaggerty. They're not building around him.
I'll say this. I feel better about Gonzalez than Swaggerty.
I do too.
But I mean, again, I don't think.
But it's also because Neil Huntington didn't draft him.
I don't look at a Gonzalez and say he has Kutch talent.
No, but I think his floor is very high.
Well, but that was also Newman.
Ceiling. Floor was floor for Newman was major league backup. Ceiling was major league starter. That's not very good.
Right.
That's it.
But he did have a high floor.
Gonzalez got a higher ceiling.
Also like Colin Moran. You know, different profiles, but Colin Moran is like the same type. I mean, he had a very, very high floor. Like you looked at Moran getting drafted, he was going to be a major leaguer. You could almost guarantee it. Yeah. But the likelihood of him being a star was extremely low.
Right. Unless he had trash cans to bang on. And then the Pirates stole that.
Right. He did for like a half,
yeah. And then he hit like an animal.
Season. Yeah.
I don't know how anyone looked at his bat speed, though, and was like, that guy's a star. Because, it's not great.
Also, we got here DH, O'Neal Cruz. I mean, potentially. But I'm hoping he goes to the right field because he's got a cannon of an arm, too. I hope he's everything we wanted Polanco to be.
See, we talked about this, what was it, yesterday, about Nick Gonzalez and O'Neal Cruz, about MLB prospects moving Gonzalez above him.
Oh yeah, because MLB Pipeline redid their
Right.
I don't get that. Before you go there, let's just talk about that real quick. Mm-hmm. How do you reevaluate minor league talent? How do you update the prospect rankings when there's been no games played? What has changed in anyone's scout's mind right now that Cruz went from number 50-something to number 70-something?
And my response to you was that they probably realized that his value has dropped because there's no chance he sticks to shortstop. And when he doesn't stick to shortstop, then we're talking about a guy who's not playing a premium position, and he's either playing first base, right field, or DH. And that's a lot of value gone right there.
Okay. I mean, nothing's truly still changed. The Pirates still say he's a shortstop.
Yeah, the Pirates are still wrong.
And nothing has changed. So still, how do you regardless.
Saying the Pirates are wrong is incorrect by me. They are completely correct to let him play shortstop until he proves he cannot play shortstop at all. However, he will not play shortstop.
Yeah. Actually, and I want to say something. So Ethan says they didn't change. They just added. No, actually, they've updated. So it was 2 days ago they updated it because Nick Gonzalez actually was there when the went after the draft. I mean, it took about 2 weeks for them to update the rankings. But after the draft, I want to say it was like the Pirates were like 51, 52, and like 56. And it was Brian Hayes, Cruz, and then Gonzalez. Like Nick Gonzalez slotted in, I think, at number 56. But now he's like number 40-something. So how did he get better? How did Cruz get worse?
They probably fired a few guys or laid them off for COVID, and smarter guys came in.
Maybe.
That's my theory. I'm sticking to it.
Nick Gonzalez could be like a Freddie Sanchez.
I hope not.
I hope better, if that's weird to say.
I hope a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope he's more like a Pokey Reese.
Wait, first off, that's my man, Pokey Reese. Second off,
I love Pokey.
I hope he's not like Pokey Reese.
I love him. I love Pokey.
Yes.
What a name. I'll take any opportunity I can get to bring up Pokey Reese.
All right. So
Hey, DiNardo, who started at second base and shortstop when the Red Sox won the 2004 World Series?
It's true.
Pokey Reese.
That's true.
I just want to bring
That's where love started. That's where love started. I'm not going to say I was a Red Sox fan, but I was thoroughly enjoying the Red Sox back then. Of course, because of what they did to the Yankees. But also, I mean, the Johnny Damon flow.
They also had Pokey Reese.
They did have Pokey Reese. Man.
I mean, Pokey Reese.
And then he became a Pirate. And it was...
No, he became a Pirate before that.
Was it before?
No, his last year was 2004.
Oh, so it was before.
This is why I won trivia.
It is why. You are, technically speaking, You are the
Good
smartest
grief.
Pirate fan alive. As negative as you are, Tyler, and as much of a fan as you are not, you actually are the smartest fan.
And somehow I still tune in every day.
So let's move.
As I'm sitting in my office today whenever Newman hits that walk off, and I'm, come on, wave him. I was doing that after Reynolds hit the double. I was waving Tucker home. Terrible idea, but I wanted it.
There you go. There you go.
So I'm not a third base coach.
So yeah, let's move forward a little bit because I know you
Yeah.
definitely had some things you want to talk about here. We had a transition, but we kept going. So, but it was all good info. So we'll do a late transition. So yes, let's go ahead and talk about the Cherington.
Farted.
Oh, those are the worst too, aren't they?
Yeah, not good.
Oh man,
Not good. Oof.
I know you're struggling right now.
Anyhow.
Speaking of Cherington and Shelton,
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into this whole new regime. I know Jim and I did a little bit. We do have a question. Actually, let's bring it up. We had a mailbag question.
Yeah.
1 second here. You know how good we are.
Yeah. This is a North Shore 9 difference.
All right. So, God, it's Bucko Mike, of course, too. Since the Pirates are rancid dog piles, grade Ben Cherington so far with draft, free agent signings, and trades. A to F grade scale. Because, there's all kinds of other grade scales that everyone uses universally. Yeah. But, yes.
I got to give him like a D+ right now. And the reason why is that he knows the Pirates are in a rebuild. He doesn't get an F only because of COVID. And this is just of this year.
Okay.
My biggest issue right now with Ben Cherington is that you're rebuilding. Guillermo Heredia and Gerard Dyson are not the guys, the veteran type players that you want starting a bunch of games. You need to be going out and getting lottery ticket type guys that you can flip at the deadline. You need a bunch of those lottery ticket type guys and try to get anything you can for them. Those two have never been good in Major League Baseball.
Fair.
They are placement fillers at best, and they add nothing. At the very least, play one of your guys that you think are quad A players. But those guys are wasting spots. I'm going to go around the diamond. Colin Moran, that's a lottery ticket. Josh Bell, you got to hope he can be good so you can trade him.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Frazier, you hope he can be good so you can trade him. The other issues for me is that they didn't go out and get the high upside relievers that they could have.
Yeah.
We're watching a bunch of dudes that just aren't very good pitchers, and everyone knows it. There's not even a flash of potential with them.
I mean, not one of them, Tyler.
I mean, who the hell was this Howard guy?
He's a beast.
Some lefty.
Sam Howard's dominating. What are you talking about? That's why Cherington didn't have to go out there.
92. I watched him through an 89-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
right?
out.
When everyone's zigging, he's zagging. Right? Why throw 103? Everyone's used to 103 now. I come in with 89. I'm throwing all your timing off. I'm making you look like 2020 Josh Bell at the plate.
But my issue, the other thing is, I will give him credit. He did draft Nick Gonzalez, which is a good pick. Good pick. But we're looking at a rotation that there's no upside with it. We're looking at relievers, no upside. The outfield, no upside. There's nobody out there that he can flip or anything. This is just like a year of nothing. It's a wasted year, which I get because of COVID, but even before that.
Wasn't say pretend COVID didn't happen, right? I mean, he went into the season thinking there's going to be 162 games played, Tyler. So even if it were, you're still correct in that point. I mean, all I'm going to do is validate your point here. I'm not going to, this isn't me saying anything, but you still signed Dyson, you still got Heredia, and if you're saying that there's no upside, like it still would have played regardless.
There is none.
Okay. So what would you grade him? You said a D+?
A D+.
I mean, I can't disagree with too much of what you said. I didn't hate the Dyson signing. Again, it's not like
I did.
Because I didn't hate it does also not mean I like it. Everything is not if and then, all right? I didn't hate it because I felt with the Maley, bringing him in, bringing in Dyson, like to me, the biggest thing on this team that you needed to focus on and turn around was the pitching. Like I truly felt there was talent in the arms that's untapped. So you bring in a new pitching coach, you get rid of Ray Searage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You fix the pitchers and also you help them. You bring in defenders. Okay. Now, by no means is this defense have just massively improved, but Jacob
They're
Stallings
playing Cole Tucker in center field.
I know, but we're again behind that. We're past that. Okay. You got good defense behind the plate, which is really, really good. And we've seen it so far this year. It actually is pretty good. You get a solid defender in the center field so you can help your pitchers out. Now, you are absolutely correct, though. They made 0 moves in this offseason other than basically those 3 and a JT Riddle. And, like you're saying, very, very...
Love that guy.
Very, 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 very low ceilings on these guys, which means you can find a terrible person, but he could have something that stands out that's really good. Maybe he bats 220, but he's, slugging home runs here and there, and that's a tradable piece. Like you said, like a high risk, high reward. But these are very, very
Give me
low
a Mets
reward.
Marlin Bird, please.
Yeah.
Guy you signed for the vet minimum, basically.
And once again, like this was an offseason to do it because people weren't really being signed. You had all the money to do it. Ethan, you're on here. Tell them, like, you would imagine
Instead,
more money
we got
to
Guillermo
be spent.
Heredia and Gerard Dyson. I know that's what Speed do, but I don't care. He can't hit.
So on top of that, okay, to give him a little bit of an out, there's really not a reason to invest into this team. I do believe this is a rebuild. They just haven't rebuilt it yet. I think this year
You got to use something to rebuild with.
Well, and I think that's what it is.
You got to buy them bricks at some point.
Now, this is where COVID takes a hit. I felt this year was a year of evaluating, seeing who's part of the future, trying to, again, fix these people because you felt there was untapped talent in the pitching and such to make them come out and say, hey, see, guys, these actually are good pitchers. Give me your prospects for them. So part of me says I can understand that a little bit. Maybe they could have brought in different free agents, but then again, free agents have to want to be here. So that's part of it.
Yeah, that's the other part of it. But
I mean, actually, Gerard Dyson didn't want to be here. He's the first to tell you that. But we're the only team that seems they offer him a contract and give him money. So that's why he's here.
What does that tell you?
So
the
I get that.
Not a major leaguer.
I want to say that I think COVID, of course, did hamper a lot of things. Luckily, he was able to trade Marte. The package was good. I don't think it was great. But it could have been worse.
It's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could have been McCutcheon. Or not McCutcheon. I'm sorry. It could have been Garrett Cole.
There you go.
They got Brian Reynolds from McCutcheon.
So I'm with you. Like,
pulled that one out of their ass.
I feel it was good. I don't feel it was great. So like I give that a B, right? As far as the free agent moves, there wasn't much. And this is the things that Bucko Mike wants us to grade them on. As far as free agents, I would give it a D as well, because what was there? Nothing. But I also don't think there was a reason to invest in this year. And then as far as the draft, I have to give him an A. I'll put A- though, because yes, he got Gonzalez, right? It's a talent there. And I like what they did. They got high risk, high reward type of players in like the next few rounds, and then just didn't spend anything on round 4 or 5. They give them more money to sign those people, which they did. So they signed all the guys they drafted. They more or less wasted 4 and 5 to get some high upside guys in the upper middle rounds of this 5-round draft. So I'll give him an A-, but what I will say, okay, had Gonzalez been drafted, I think would have said a lot more. Gonzalez did fall into his lap, and I think at that point that almost was a no-brainer. So I'll give him the A- because it was good, but if Gonzalez wasn't available, if he would have went when he should have, I'm intrigued to see where he would have went to truly kind of figure him out, if that makes sense. You know?
No, that's not.
But again, he made the move. Like, he made the right move. You can't fault him for doing what he should have done. It's just any one of us could have done that also. So I'll give him an A-,
However,
and overall, I give him just a C.
You know what? When he can get an A+ is when they tank this entire season and draft Kumar next year.
You mean when they tank this entire season and they get the number 7 pick again? Because Manfred just says,
the number 1.
I'm going to reiterate last year's draft.
I don't care about him.
You know something like that's
the number 1 pick. We're getting Kumar. He's going to be up in 2 years. And it's going to be all rainbows and butterflies, and I'm going to love him. But until then, I don't like him. No, I actually don't mind Ben Cherington. He hasn't done what I would like this year. But he gets more of a pass than Derek Shelton.
Okay. I can agree with that. Let's talk about Shelton. Again, seems to be the theme of the week.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about Shelton. So, in my mind, I get it. The Pirates are working on a rebuild right now. Everyone can tell. Nobody will say it. But I do not want a manager who is okay not putting his best foot forward and winning games. And Derek Shelton has done that a couple times this year, where it feels like he's more, we could win this game right now, but I also want to give this guy this opportunity to do this. I want to give him to do this. No, that's not the manager I want. I want a guy that's going to want to win a game right now. And we can argue back and forth, whoever, about, well, development's more important or this is more important. I don't care. I don't want a manager who's okay losing.
Is that it?
Talk, DiNardo.
I mean, I was living. Listen. I think I've talked about this 3 times this week, so I was kind of giving you the floor. But if that's all you got, I thought you'd have more stamina.
I'm trying not to hate the guy because everybody tells me how nice he is. I really don't care how nice he is.
Well, I mean, you can't say you don't.
I don't.
If he's a complete dick he turns the clubhouse,
and
then that's not good.
If he's a complete dick and wins 50 games, I'm fine with them.
Yeah, but like the odds of being that and winning 50 games consistently, 50 games when? Next year or this year?
No, this year.
Because next year, that's not going to be good.
Win games.
I mean, you lose a clubhouse if you can't relate. I mean, you and I have talked about that how many times, Tyler?
And here's the thing, though. What kind of player wants to play for a guy who's, oh, boy, we got Nelson Cruz up, base is empty? Bitch to him. I want to see you try to beat him. No. A major league player, I feel like, is going to look at that and go, this guy doesn't give a shit about winning. This guy's more just, they told me that I got to develop players, so I'm just going to do that.
No.
That's what it feels like with Derek Shelton right now.
I totally agree.
He's more interested in developing these players, and I get it. You need to develop them. But, my God, they're going to get some development out of winning a game and learning how to win. Because these dudes have no idea how to right now because they're Pirates.
But let me ask you this, because I don't think anyone can guarantee and definitively say, Tyler, that he's been given you got to develop these guys, and this is why you're doing X, Y, and Z. I mean, honestly,
it looks like it.
The thing is,
done nothing to...
but listen, if that was the case, honestly, that's best case scenario. Because the problem is, Tyler, if that's not the directive, right? I mean, he could be saying okay, I want to get some plate appearances to, Cole Tucker, this and that, and that's fine. But like, if he's not being told some of these other things, that's on him, and that's the manager he is, and that's the problem because that's what's more worrisome. Like, I'm almost saying, I hope he's been given this stuff and he's okay with it, because what's the alternative?
Oh, it's far better if he is. If he has been given those orders, it's far better than if he's doing it on his own because he won't get another manager job.
Bucko Mike says you can't develop a turd into a diamond.
You really can't. But he's trying. Like, Nelson Cruz is up. There's a base open. What are we doing?
Right. So that's
These
what I
are
said
things
on
that a freaking Little League manager knows. The big kid's up. Let's walk him.
Yeah, like you can't even take that as he came from the AL and now he's in now. I expected a bit of a learning curve. He's in a different league. He's a new manager. There's going to be mistakes. Like we know that. There's going to be mistakes this year. And also, this is the year to do it. Like it's not as if we fired Clint Hurdle because this team is underachieving. They should be in the playoffs every year. And now you bring in a Derek Shelton and allow the mistakes. If you're going to bring in a new manager to come in and allow him to make mistakes, this is the team to do it with. But, Tyler, these mistakes are so bad that people are actually looking at it saying, well, Derek Shelton believes in the tank. Like he's doing this because they're purposely tanking. It looks so obvious. That's how bad they really are.
When you get to a point where people are looking at you and going, is he trying to lose this game? That's a problem. That's not ideal.
Derek Hurdle.
And the things he's done with the lineup, man. Like, I know what I understand what he's trying to do on just the development side, where he's trying to find something that works, where he's trying to let these guys play. But Cole Tucker should never play center field ever.
See, I disagree.
I completely disagree with you.
Good. You're wrong.
I'm absolutely correct. The dude is
I'm going to drive this into the ground till the day I die.
Oh, God. I'm going to drink.
Okay. I'll let you take the floor. Again, I've said this before, but I mean, tell me why he should have.
He is your best defensive shortstop.
And why does that matter?
Because if you're teaching him a new position and you want to develop him, why put him in center field where he's got to learn another position on top of trying to learn how to hit a baseball, which he has shown he cannot do?
Okay. I can't hate that.
Weird. Tyler had a good idea.
No, I don't hate that. That would be the only reason I would oppose this.
It's the reason.
But Tyler,
I'm a genius. You're not.
No. You're far from a genius.
IQ level.
You're just a smart fan. You just know history. But what I'm trying to tell you, Tyler, I'm trying to tell you the future.
Fan.
All right. You live in the past. I live in the moment and in the future. All right.
Yep,
so
go ahead and bore me with your details.
Is Cole Tucker going to ever hit to be a major league player?
No.
Then why does it even matter if he plays shortstop?
Why is he playing center field right now?
Because if he is literally going to be a major leaguer, it's solely for the fact because his bat, I don't believe it anymore. There's some people that I feel like we talked about Kevin Newman. He could be that in the future. Like I could see that, right? Or there's untapped talent that, he'll come into it, right? I don't see it. Last year I was still hoping. I am not a believer in Cole Tucker with that bat, period.
Yep. Nor am I.
So
continue.
Is that bat going to still play with that defensive shortstop?
No. However.
Okay. No. There's no more. There's no more. However, you've just answered it. He is not a major leaguer.
No shit.
Okay.
I wouldn't play him at all.
Okay. So what is the only possible way he could potentially be a major leaguer?
If he develops his bat and becomes a utility player, let's see. How do we do that? We play him in a position where he doesn't have to learn a new spot on the fly.
Time's up.
And can focus on hitting a baseball.
No, time's up, man. Time's up.
Yep.
I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting.
Nor am I. Let's get on the same page here, DiNardo, and say he's not a major leaguer, and let's just ship his ass off.
Well, because this is it. This is like his last chance. This is the evaluation year, right? He's not a hitter. He's not a hitter.
All right, well,
you better be damn well.
Who else are you going to play a shortstop?
We have options. Like
who? What are
nothing
the options?
Proven, right?
What's the option?
There is Kevin Newman, who defensively is not there.
Did we have a conversation earlier?
Yes, I'm telling.
Said
Listen,
Kevin Newman is not a shortstop.
Stop talking and let me finish. We have Kevin Newman. That's proven. He is a major leaguer, but there's still things in the pipeline. There still is Bay. There still is Peguero. There still is Nick Gonzalez, right? So there are still players coming up that could potentially play. Steven Almais. Okay. I mean, I don't know if it's really there, but again,
we're talking about this year.
I don't care about this year because I'm not playing to win. If Cole Tucker is going to be a major leaguer, I am sold on this fact. If he is going to be a major leaguer, it's because he has the Sean Rodriguez, the Jay Hay, DNA pedigree where he can play good defense at every position. And like, that's it, because that has value. And the bat, if you get something out of it, then great. But at least I can carry you to play whatever position I need you to play. That's it.
But here's the difference. He's in a position where Sean Rodriguez hit 20-something homers in the minors.
I know.
Jay Hay hitting the minors. Cole Tucker has shown nothing with the bat. What's the one thing that needs to develop with Cole Tucker? The bat.
I agree. I know what I'm saying.
So where's
ceiling,
the one place you can put him?
His ceiling.
And he's a plus still at shortstop where you play him there, let him develop his bat, keep playing shortstop because he already is above average there. And then we'll worry about teaching him how to play wherever.
Clint Barmes.
Sure did.
Cole Tucker might dream to be a Clint Barmes one day. That could be his ceiling.
If this was 08, he'd be good.
That's what I'm getting at. And we're talking about freaking Tatis Jr. And you want to come up here and tell me that Cole Tucker should be a shortstop. He needs to be a utility player at best, and this is where it's going to come.
How many times have I said Cole Tucker will never be a starting major league shortstop ever? I don't.
So then why are you doing this? If he's never going to be a starting shortstop, then why are you starting him at shortstop?
Because he is the best defensive shortstop they have, and if this is truly a rebuilding year, where they are going to find out what they have, what is the point of making him learn center field when the main thing he needs to develop is the bat?
Because that ain't coming.
So let him play a position he knows.
He's had plenty of years to develop something in that bat, and nothing's developed.
I said that when he was drafted.
Okay, so again, why are we arguing?
My first interaction with Evil Neil was me arguing about Cole Tucker, where Evil Neil told me, I told him that Cole Tucker's best hope is that he gains enough weight to go play third base and hit the ball because he's such a large human being. Like, he's tall. He's 6'3". And Evil Neil told me that, you ever heard of Troy Tulowitzki? Evil Neil was like 12 at this time. Let me put it that way.
No excuses, because I want to know. So you're telling me
they're out there.
Evil Neil. So you're telling me.
Oh, big time. I compared Cole Tucker to Chris Stewart.
You're telling me he thought Cole Tucker could hit.
Yeah.
Cole Tucker could hit Tyler. Is that what you're telling me?
That's what Evil Neil was telling me.
I'd rather be on Adam Frazier's side than Cole Tucker. But I digress. I'm just messing with you.
I'm telling you right now, I called him a cream puff multiple times, along with Kevin Newman, actually. I said they both suck.
All right. So we will agree to disagree on this Cole Tucker situation. But, of course, let's continue to move on with your Shelton, if there was any more you want to talk about.
At the end of it, I can't imagine a player wanting to play for a guy that's just seems like right now he is okay losing, because that's where I'm at with Derek Shelton, where every time I watch him manage, especially an extra inning game, it feels like he's fine just throwing in the towel. And that drives me insane. I don't care if they are rebuilding or not. When you're playing, you're failing. We talked about this in the group chat. When you're playing the game, he's failing the guys that are out there playing. I don't care about rebuilding. I don't care what we got coming up or who we need to develop. Jim said it. He's failing Nick Birdie. He's failing Colin Moran. He's failing all these guys that are out there playing their ass off. How can you want to come play for that?
Right. Yeah, I don't disagree. I pretty much said my point on it. Listen, it's been 13 games now for him, but this is all we have to go on.
I feel bad because it's only been 13 games.
Yeah, I know. And I'm talking about too. Like
what he has shown.
It seems overcritical.
Not been a major league manager.
Right. But I mean, these are definitely concerns. I mean, in just the 13 games span we've had, there's been plenty to point out. This wasn't like a 1 or 2 time thing. There's already been patterns in these 13 games. So it's valid to bring up. But at the same time, also it is 13 games. Let's not call his career right now and say it's done. Let's find out. I do just want to add one thing though, Tyler. Okay? Mm-hmm. Bucko Mike on the Cole Tucker argument says he agrees with you. So now it's very evident who was correct in this argument.
Yeah, me.
No,
Mike, you've been trying to.
You're on Bucko Mike's side. You're on Bucko Mike's side.
Out.
You are on Bucko Mike's side. That's the wrong side of history.
North Shore Nine's been trying to squeeze you out for like 5 years. You're on the squeeze out. All you do is listen to every episode, bring some positive feedback.
That is never
positive. They just squeeze you out. You guys have been having a do.
I love Bucko Mike. But there's never any.
Yeah. I'm sure you do.
So the podcast would come out on Sunday night, right? And like 2 a.m. you'd see a tweet from Bucko Mike. So fell asleep during the North Shore 9 podcast, the snooze fest.
Yeah, it's because he's been squeezed out.
Right. Hey, there's still that open invitation, Bucko Mike. Anytime you want to come on.
I don't know. I think you need to pay my man some money.
So we to go back to the mailbag, we did have another question which we want to dive into a little bit here as well. This did come from Ethan, our boy Ethan Houlihan. So he goes, hold on. Oh yeah, that was a question. So we go. I know lots of pitcher injuries have been happening, but haven't we been having the same quotes? Lots of early pitcher injuries. Why? Discussion for the last reason too. Blah blah blah. Okay. So I'll preference this because we talked about this before the show. Mm-hmm. We, of course, didn't have enough time, nor were we going to. We haven't really done the research opposed to this year and last, right? Fair enough?
Yeah, not a chance.
Okay. So this, I guess, will be your favorite thing, the eye test.
I love the eye test.
What do you take about these pitcher injuries, and not just for the Pirates? I mean, we'll expand it to all of baseball for this year.
I mean, I think everyone knows this is probably a concern that you have less than a month to get ready to throw. And we're talking about a lot of guys that have throwing programs to get ready, and they just were unable to do so. I know you brought up to me earlier about Trevor Williams wanting less spring training, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, we'll bring that up. So, right. I mean, I forget where I saw that, but I think it was actually during one of the, honestly, I don't even know like how I would have seen it. Maybe it was on MLB TV, but they're talking about him. What he did mention was, I mean, he felt good because they've been throwing since spring. So, he felt like there was no issues for the pitchers heading into this shortened season and such because they've been ramped up. But what he also said, and that's why I wanted to bring Blake to this conversation. What he also said is he hates how long spring is. And like he says that, the pitchers these days, and actually all the players these days, Tyler, they work out all off season. Like they don't go home after the championship, the World Series, whatever, and then just drink and eat and whatever, and then have to go to spring to get in shape. Like they're already coming in shape. They've been throwing. He said he feels like spring should be about 3 to 4 weeks every year.
See, I don't buy any of that.
Okay. And that's why I want to bring that up. So let's go.
There's no way that these guys are staying in shape in their offseason. Not a chance. The other thing, especially when we're talking about pitching, these are guys that need to be able to long toss. There's a lot of things in their throwing program that they need to be able to do, and you're just not able to do so at your own house. Like we watched Garrett Cole throwing with his wife because there's not much of an option. So I buy into the drive line type stuff where it's a lot of throwing. We need to be throwing year round. We need breaks. We need to lift. Everything like that. And Trevor Williams might be doing that, but there's no way all these guys around the MLB are doing that. They need that 2 months where they're, I mean, how many times do we see in spring training where velocity's down?
True.
And then they finally get there. I mean, we still got guys right now. Rich Rodriguez is throwing 90 miles an hour.
Right. Which there's been debate. And actually, speaking of the Evil Neil, like I know he's been talking about it too. Is it because they're not ready and amped up, or is it because they're purposely not going all out because of the short season? And I think that's what's hard to judge about this year too, is because it is different.
And you can say the same thing about spring training, though. Are they throwing as hard as they can? But I look back at the Trevor Bauer mic'd up video where he's on the mound and he's saying 90 miles an hour. That ain't going to play. There's 91. Oh, that ain't it either. Let me throw everything I got in this. He threw like 90 again. They're not ready yet.
Yeah.
And when you give them a month to do that, it's not going to be ready.
Yeah.
Especially the way we're coming with pitching, where everything is so specialized in training.
That's also actually a really good point. Yeah. This isn't 1999 anymore.
I mean, so I guess in that aspect, Williams could be correct where that if they spend more time specialized in training rather than in spring training, that's one thing. But just for everyone to be thrown in, it probably won't work for the majority. I changed my mind about 8 times during that.
That's fine. That's what we're here for. Let's just talk it out on air.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I didn't know where I'd start with that, but that's where I finished.
Well, then let's transfer what you just said there, because those are all still good points, regardless of whatever side you took them as.
No idea which side I ended up on.
That this year is having an effect with injuries and pitchers because of the shortened season.
Absolutely. I really
test.
do. Yeah, I do. With the eye test, because I don't have time to look into that and find out who's been hurt last year and who's hurt this year. What are the numbers compared to last year? What's the number of blown out elbows? I have no idea.
Well, and let's be fair too.
Do you
have actually the data? Like, do you have the true correlation of data to compare? Because the season starts this year, the end of July, where it started last year in April. You know, you had this you had people ramping up and then stop. So it's like, what do you compare? Do you say the first 3 weeks of the season, which was the first weeks in April, or do you say, you know what I mean? So like, how do you really correlate?
I can't even compare injuries in the first 2 weeks to the injuries the first 2 weeks this year, because I'm too lazy to make an Excel spreadsheet.
Well, that's but regardless, even if you weren't too lazy,
but yeah,
what do you compare?
And then you
because
throw
it's
in all
apples
the
and
exponents, and I gave up.
Yeah.
But just on sheer numbers, and the Evil Neil thing is actually a good point, just because you think of our guys taking it easy. A lot of the guys we've seen getting hurt are like your high-end guys who probably won't take it easy. Which is a random thought I just thought of because I'm a genius. So here we are.
By high-end,
so
you do mean the Michael Felizes and...
I'm talking about Max Scherzer and...
Oh, okay. I'm like...
But like...
I'm in opposed to Birdie. What's been high-end on the Pirates right now?
But like the guys who... I mean, that might actually be something for someone way less lazy than me to look into. The guys that came out with not dropped off velocity, what the injury rate is. But I'm far too lazy to do that. That's almost way too difficult of a question for us to answer. But yes, I think that the injuries will be up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just opinion based. And I'm with you. Like, I want to say I feel it's probably because of the shortened season and everything.
I went around the river and then I finally drank the water.
There you go. You had to work yourself up to get thirsty. That's all. Bucko Mike just says the Pirates pitchers are soft. So, I mean, hey, there's, Bucko Mike was able to answer it
I should have just came out
3
and said
words and an equal sign. So
Yeah, I should have just said that.
there you go. I mean, again, like you can't really quantify this in my mind because it's again apples to oranges, but there have been injuries, but there's always injuries too. You know, I think it's just more heightened this year because it's just 60 games. But I mean, I want to feel and believe that it's because of the shortened time. But like you're saying, I don't know if we can truly quantify right now because it is so different. But it does, it does make you a bit worried. As going back to the beginning of the show, I always felt the pitchers would be ahead because hitting is timing. At least the pitchers were able to throw this entire time. What were the batters doing? That they couldn't really get the timing down. And again, maybe that's why Polanco looks so bad and Josh Bell and, Yelich, right?
Doubt it.
But it'll come back for most of them. But like with the pitching, I felt it was going to be ahead. However, there definitely are some injuries. There are concerns because velocity is down for a lot of people. Again, is it a mechanics thing? Is it dead arm? Is it because they're not, ramped up? Or is it just because it's 60 games? I'm not blowing out my arm this year for this poop, So again, because of all that too, how do you quantify this? Because there's so many variables to this season opposed to everyone else. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to bring up on the show right now.
No, I think I've gotten my Shelton, Cherington, and whatever the hell else the Pirates are doing rants out.
All right then. Well, let's end the show. So I enjoyed it. Hopefully,
you're the host. You told me what to do.
Then all right, I will tell you. You're gonna listen up and say I'm right about Cole Tucker.
Nah, I think I won that one.
All right. We'll let the fans decide. You tell us, DiNardo or Tyler.
Nah, I'm pretty sure I'm right there.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people hate you, so they're just gonna say my name just in spite of you.
Yes, they hate me, but I'm right.
So with that said,
that's why you have no viewers tonight.
it was lit. Bucko Mike kept up the chat.
That's my guy. Squeeze out.
There you go. Yep. So again, we'll be back hopefully with the podcast this weekend. Obviously, as mentioned before, DiNardo's Dugout Tuesday mornings, Starbucks with Jim and DiNardo Wednesday mornings, and we have NS9 Live Thursdays. Thanks, Tyler, for coming on. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
It's been real.